Everyone, welcome. Thank you all for joining the National Winner Announcement presentation. Just to start, the Australian Institute of Architects acknowledges First Nations people as the traditional custodians of the land, waters, and skies of the continent now called Australia. We express our gratitude to their elders and knowledge holders whose wisdom, action, and knowledge have kept culture alive. We recognize First Nations people as the first architects and builders. We appreciate their continuing work on country from pre-invasion times to contemporary First Nation architects and respect their rights to continue to care for country. So SuperStudio would not be possible without Allspec. So thank you so much for sponsoring us. And I would like to invite Alistair to formally say a few words.
Thanks very much. Thanks, Zoe. Good morning, everyone, and welcome. As you all hopefully know by now, my name is Alistair Baldwin from Allspec, and on behalf of everyone at Allspec, I'd like to extend a warm welcome to all of our students, tutors, university staff, judges, guests joining us from across Australia, and obviously my other amazing colleagues dotted around the country. It's fantastic to see so many people coming together to celebrate the next generation of architects and designers. At Allspec, we work with architects every day, and one thing we know that great buildings begin with great ideas. SuperStudio is a wonderful opportunity for students to challenge themselves, collaborate as teams, and develop creative solutions to real-world design problems. To everyone presenting today, congratulations on making it this far. Reaching the national presentations is a significant achievement in itself, and you should all be incredibly proud of the work that you've produced. We know how much time, energy, and passion has gone into each of these projects. Whether you're presenting in Victoria, Western Australia, Queensland, Tasmania, South Australia, Northern Territory, ACT, or New South Wales, we wish you every team the very best of luck. Thank you for joining us today. Enjoy the presentations, and I'll hand over to a video that I think is going to be played just now. Good luck, everyone.
Thanks, Alistair. Just to introduce myself again as well, my name is Zoe. I'm the Vice President of Professional Development for SONA this year, as well as one of the co-creative directors of SuperStudio. Joined by Maddie and Keith from Up to Something Architecture as part of the creative directors and national jury. So thanks so much, Maddie and Keith, as well, for volunteering your time today. Just a bit about the SuperStudio brief titled Pause, Gather and Feel. SuperStudio 2026 invites architecture students to resist digital acceleration, speed, and automation by designing spaces centered on observation, presence, and embodied experience. The brief challenges participants to create a deeply human space that holds wonder, emotion, and connection. We're looking at proposals that would address three main components: a creative catalyst, site and terrain, as well as a spatial system. This year, we've also focused a lot on submission and process, emphasizing tactile and analog process over digital renders or AI, and participants were strongly encouraged to use manual methods like physical models, collages, and drawings. A congratulations again to all the teams that have participated, as well as the state winners and runner-ups. The prizes that we've had this year for the runner-ups, two in each state, will receive a 2027 SONA membership, work published on the Depict website, a digital gift card of $50 per person, and an exclusive office immersion experience with a local practice in your state. Same for all of the state winners, as well as your work that will be published in the Architectural Australia magazine, which is huge. And finally, at the end of today, the national prize winner would be deliberated with a cash prize of $3,000 and work published in Architecture Australia as well. So SuperStudio would not be possible without the generous volunteers from the profession who contribute their time and experience to support students. So I just want to take a moment to thank all of the jury members, state and national, who've generously given their time. Also, a huge thank you to all of the mentors who've joined in the in-person and virtual mentoring sessions. Thank you. Also, a shout out to all of the venues that have kindly offered to host the office immersion tours and have hosted the mentoring and presentation day as well, with more office immersion venues to come soon. So this year we've had 178 students across the country participate in the local presentations to juries, 79 teams in total, and 112 mentors, jurors, and volunteers. So again, thank you and congratulations to all the teams that have participated. All of your work has been incredible and well done on making it this far. So now just on to the schedule for today, the national presentations and announcements. This is going to be the timeline. So we've got ACT, NSW, Queensland, South Australia, Tasmania, Northern Territory, Vic, and Western Australia. We've got 5 minutes each present for the jury question and answer session. And then following that, 11:30, we'll have 10 minutes of the jury being in the breakout room for deliberation and the national winner announcement following that. So with that, we can get started. So I would like to invite the first team, ACT chapter winners, Team Barton, Presence and Memory, to present your project.
Or do you need me to
Yeah.
do the slides?
Oh, I'll just, sorry, skip to the
Sorry,
first.
thank you. I approached the brief through the work of Anna Mendieta. So her body relief work asked, can absence become physically present? I inverted that question into an architectural proposition, can presence become physically remembered through architecture? To explore the idea, I began with clay, excavating into its surface to produce both a void and its inverse. Those complementary forms became the architectural language used across the entire project. Presense consists of 4 memory fragments revealed from existing landscapes and infrastructures within Canberra. Each records occupation across different temporal scales from minutes to millennia, revealing the systems that already exist within our worlds, present in our bodies, present in space and time, and encouraging a slower awareness of occupation beyond ourselves. At Hague Park, a monumental concrete cylinder appears somewhere between excavated and buried. Thermochromic concrete records the overlapping shadows of trees and occupants, creating temporary cyanotypes that reveal traces of occupation. Outside Canberra Hospital, at the Yamba Drive bus stop, a place defined by constant transience, a simple shelter contains a soft bioplastic cushion made from ficus sap. The material warms and deforms with body heat, leaving temporary physical impressions of those who occupied the space before you. At Sullivan's Creek, where the original river now meets the man-made lake, a pathway descends through the riverbank to a circular platform formed from rolled copper logs. Over the years, the copper records not only human touch, but also the cyclical rise and fall of floodwaters. At Mitchell, between a nature reserve, light rail, and industrial landscape, a series of metal ribs strung with aeolian harp strings transform the harsh sounds of industry into melodic hums, making an often ignored environmental system perceptible once more. Next slide, please. Thank you. The fragments culminate in rememory. Situated within the existing human relief of the Mount Mugga Mugga quarry, where intervention remains deliberately intimate as the quarry itself is already a monumental architectural scar. An earthen line stitches its way down the stepped quarry walls, meeting a series of rammed earth walls that exist in symbiosis with young tree saplings. As the trees mature, the walls gradually erode, leaving only rows of established trees and subtle mounds of earth as evidence of their former protection. The path continues through a colonnade of slender steel poles supporting fabric sails with small holes in the center. Rainwater collected in the sails slowly erodes the earthen path, revealing a copper panel beneath that continues recording the memory of this gradual process long after the dirt has disappeared. The path passes beneath timber rods suspended above a thermochromic concrete surface. Birds land, roost, and depart, each leaving temporary cyanotype traces that reveal the rhythms of non-human occupation. The earthen line dissolves at the mouth of the quarry, where occupants are confronted with a view of the city around them. As our lives become increasingly documented through permanent digital records, we risk overlooking the quieter, impermanent traces through which places have always remembered. This project reveals existing natural records already embedded in landscapes through material interventions that measure occupation, inviting active perception of the network of temporal changes that occur through weather systems, animal, plant, and human occupation, encouraging a slowness and appreciation of the moments you can pause, feel, and gather. Memory cannot be preserved in a single monument because memory is formed through encounter, over time, and across place. The fragments cultivate moments of attention in everyday life. The rememory site gathers, reflects, and allows those accumulated traces to continually emerge through occupation, weather, and repeated encounter. Together, they propose an architecture that preserves the ongoing evidence of occupation rather than a single moment in time. Thank you.
Wow. Beautiful images. I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit more about the process of how you made them.
It's a little bit of a mix of sort of analog and digital. So a lot of them are hand-drawn images that I then sort of distorted to look a bit like cyanotypes and old sketches found in archives
Hmm.
in Photoshop. But just, yeah, a bit of a mix of different processes there to get that effect.
I've got a lovely patina. I was wondering if you had used cyanotypes, but yeah, they're really cool. And I love that the way you represented it speaks to the materiality of your proposal as well. It's really lovely.
There was some really nice sort of exploration of sort of innovative materials. Do you want to elaborate a bit more about, is that something you've been curious about, or sort of how did you kind of get led to that idea?
Definitely. I have a list of things I see or find or think of, and this sort of the brief ended up fitting a lot of those material explorations within that. And then as I explored the sites around Canberra, I wanted to use materials or processes that sort of revealed the systems that we sort of ignore. And the materials played into that and the processes and that they perform the measurement.
Mm. Wonderful.
Great.
Yeah. I really like the drawings as well as yeah, like the way that you've talked about the landscape and like the journey through it as well. I was just wondering, with the creative catalyst, could you tell us a bit about how you kind of approached that bit of the brief?
Yeah, so the artworks are I found them quite interesting. They're sort of made to be temporary and they're reliefs on the land. So I sort of translated that into clay. and using only my fingers to create forms, which then made me think of a quarry. And Canberra has an abandoned quarry. It sort of just all tied itself together a little bit. But yeah, I enjoyed, using my hands and making a model out of something that is not quite conventional in that sense. Not making a building, but just finding a form within it.
Yep.
That's 7 minutes.
Okay, cool.
Well done.
Thank you. That was great.
Thank you.
Great presentation. Okay, next we have NSW, Edge of Paradise, original team name for one. I'd like to invite you to present whenever you're ready.
Can you hear me well?
Yeah.
Just to double check. Okay, thank you. So before I talk more about the architectural tale that is Edge of Paradise, I want to share something that's rather personal to me. And so I grew up in Hong Kong, and I would say it is a city of business and money. But as long as time passes, change is imminent, and things do change. For example, the roller coaster, which my proposal is based on, first opened in 1999, is now sitting dormant on the site since its closure in 2021. And people change. The kid that once wanted to go on the ride over and over again is now just held back by the long queues and the people that lining up for the ride is now presenting here in a national presentation actually. And environment change. The theme park that once flourished is now under financial hardship and massive financial deficit and a massive government loan. And but we cannot pause time and we cannot stop change. And so I turn my head to music, which is and the song Dream Suite in C major, which is the major influence for my project, has been with me through the ups and downs of my life. And I still remember like the emotional experience and the memories that for the first time I've listened to the song. And so I thought perhaps through architecture as a medium that I can formulate an architectural journey that could preserve this structure within us through like the memory or the emotional experience through the journey. And so, next slide, please. Thank you. And so as we descend from the top right, from the stairs, we first enter the first threshold, which is the introduction to the snow. And the first threshold is basically this pavilion structure that points towards the melting obelisk on the bottom right. And as the ceiling height gradually ascends, it naturally directs your view towards the melting obelisk and reminds you of the the destination of our journey. And as we progress towards the path, we enter the belly of the whale, which is like a stair as- that seems to connect the ground plane and the melting obelisk. But as we move up the stairs, we realize it is just a mirage, it's just an illusion. We're closer than ever to the melting obelisk, but we're just looking at it from afar. And so we have no choice but to descend from the stairs and go on this winding path, which is the transformation or the apotheosis of our journey. And this we, we, we progress down this winding path through this similar pavilion structure, but is hung with wind chimes that is drawn with the children's vision of the future on this wind chimes. And so as we walk through the pavilion structure, we rethink perhaps what is our own vision of the future. And then we look as we walk through the sunlight beams along the glass and the winds blow around. The winds kind of like sings along the songs, and we enter the final destination, which is the melting obelisk, the ultimate boon. And so as we sit at the edge we look at the shimmering constellation above the horizon, and we look back to our journey, and we see all the chapters that we have gone through, and perhaps these chapters remind us of this memory, and this whole journey becomes a memory that is within us, and what it was transitory is now permanent within us. And so that's pretty much it. Thank you.
That was a really lovely presentation. Thank you. We had a listen to the song and we've done a bit of.
It's a beautiful song.
Yeah, it's lovely. And so is it my interpretation right that you've sort of taken sort of moments from the song and the lyrics and then sort of converted that almost to like scenes as you experience and walk through the disused park?
Basically, it's basically like inspired by the song that I want to formulate an experience that's kind of similar to literature or like different phases of the song. And so how the different chapters take inspiration from the lyrics of the song from different segments, or I think one of them is the title of the first song of the album. And that's also like part of it.
Cool. I like that you said this is a song that's been with you for a long time and lots of moments of your life. So I'm curious to know, like, what does this song make you feel, and what do you want people to feel as they're moving through this experience?
So I want to like the song first started with like the line alone at the edge of the universe, and I really wanted to explore the kind of feeling when, because the site that I'm based on is basically this prominent dome structure at the hillside, which is like a steep edge to like a cliffside. And so I thought perhaps through this side I can, because the dome structure is about like 25 meters tall. And so perhaps the sublimity of being in that dome structure and overlooking the Pacific horizon would be a really strong kind of emotional tie, as long as like the connection, or even it doesn't have to be that you're alone in that structure, but perhaps it's more about like how we felt during the process of being there.
Cool. Did you have any questions, Zoe?
I don't really have a question, but I think it's a really interesting idea. I really like how you talked about your personal kind of relationship as well as like using the roller coaster and the infrastructure that's existing and kind of repurposing that. I just thought that was a really interesting interpretation. Yeah.
It sounds like it's wrapped up in a lot of personal nostalgia for you and kind of like personal narrative, which is sort of what we were asking for, really. So yeah, anyway.
A quick question about the drawings. It looked like a combination of hand drawings and...
We are at 7 minutes. But yeah.
Sure. Okay.
Sorry.
All right. We'll have to park it there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, Queensland.
Yes, we're here.
Hello. Great. Whenever you're ready.
The devastation of war and the collapse of shared values divided the Korean peninsula in two. Though we remained one people, speaking the same language and sharing the same cultural roots, no dialogue or exchange is permitted between us. Yet one song continues to be shared across this divide, Arirang. Arirang, Arirang, Arario, crossing over Arirang Pass. My beloved who leaves me behind, may you not travel even 10 ri before your feet grow weary and you return. The song expresses the longing of one who waits, hoping that a loved one, forced to leave, will return. During the Korean War, countless people departed for the battlefield. Many never returned. Bound by this tragedy, North and South Korea began a joint mission in 2019 at Arrowhead Ridge in the DMZ, where fierce battles once took place. Both nations exhumated the remains of fallen soldiers, united by a shared purpose. Could you go to the next panel, please?
Our project begins with the belief that the shared wounds of war can be remembered and our shared identity reclaimed through the one song both Koreas still share. On Arrowhead Ridge, where the joint exhumation took place, we propose a memorial pavilion, where the architecture itself becomes a musical instrument. Visitors pluck strings integrated into the pavilion, allowing Arirang to resonate through the space. When entering, a string extending from the passage on the opposite side interrupts the path. This intrusion creates a sense of discomfort and physical tension, and as a result, we naturally reach the strings. When approaching the center, a cycle is created. We have unintentionally urged the next person to play to continue the song. Arriving at a Wystone ossuary, we encounter another visitor approaching from opposite direction, perhaps from the north. As humans, we unconsciously form judgment and prejudice. This is why the fabric covers the other, up to the hand. Their only means of communication is Arirang. Within the condition of physical isolation and misunderstanding, the project explores the possibility that unintended actions and coincident contact may become the starting point for resolving conflict.
Well, since we have a bit more time left, Jay, as someone who's lived in Korea, can you tell me a bit more about the site?
The DMZ, or the militarized zone, is a 4-kilometer wide buffer zone between the two, and its mountainous terrain required us to consider a lightweight construction system. Therefore, the project was developed through the principles of minimum material use and a simple lightweight construction at a human scale. Can you please go to the first panel? These 3 horizontal silhouettes on the page not only represent the defined bodies of the DMZ, but is the elevation of the pavilion's strings, which play the rhythm and melody of Arirang. Sejin, why do we choose Arirang?
So, Arirang is a traditional Korean folk song, so old that its exact origins are unknown. But it's a song that every Korean would know. Our grandmothers might not know BTS, but they would certainly know Arirang. South and North Korea exist in a situation where virtually no information can be freely exchanged, yet Arirang remains the only cultural art form that both nations continue to sing. So Jay, how do South Koreans view North Korea right now?
Can you please go to the next panel? In contemporary South Korea, rapid development has transformed the country and generations have changed. So the idea of reunification, or even the recognition that North and South Koreans were once one people, has gradually faded from everyday consciousness. It has become a topic no longer actively discussed. So
that is why we made this project.
Thanks for listening.
Great work. I loved the presentation and the energy. It was very sweet, you guys interviewing each other. I think one of the things we felt like was so successful about this project was how simple the idea is. I think it takes a lot of bravery to conceive something that's as elegant as this, and then just stick to your guns and let that be the big idea. So I think we thought the clarity of your project was really beautiful.
Yeah, no, absolutely echo that. And I was curious, maybe you could describe a bit more your process for how you produce the graphics and the images on these slides. That would be really helpful.
So I just wanted to highlight on this panel, those are physical. So we wanted to experiment with the materiality and of the two material elements, which are the hemp fabric and the hemp strings that we have used in the project. And so those photos that you can see, it's a one-to-one physical model that we made to explore like the fabric texture, the light quality, and the strings and the string tension. So that was a lot of fun that we had during the thing. But yeah, we kind of, it was in the earlier process that we made this model to really explore what this project could become.
Yeah, I think it's really fun as well, and I really enjoyed the presentation, how you had the audio at the back and kind of going back and forth. It kind of feels a bit like a harmony or a song as well. And yeah, I think the physical model is really nice. I was wondering, looking at it, was like, did you physically make that, or was that like a digital, like a render or something?
We got them off the internet. We were like, no, they're photographs.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well done, you guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Next, South Australia. Dylan and Angus, finding ourselves.
The love of field and coppice, of green and shaded lanes, of ordered woods and gardens is running in your veins. Strong love of grey-blue distance, brown streams and soft dim skies. I know but cannot share it. My love is otherwise. I love a sunburnt country, a land of sweeping plains, of ragged mountain ranges, of droughts and flooding rains. I love her far horizons. I love her jewel sea, her beauty and her terror, the wide brown land for me. Although, if I am honest, I'm less an outback guy. Those ordered woods and gardens, I think that they're all right. I reckon we can fit them in upon this land of ours. And maybe, a hotel too, a blackened glass facade. And picture, on the ground floor, upon her dusty land, a sushi hub or something, or a frozen yogurt brand. Or what about Labubu? Is Labubu still a vibe? Pistachio Dubai croissant. I've heard of that online. I see you're not quite buying. You think that I'm insane. You think I'm being silly, but look around. It's plain. Down under, it's an empty slate, a sandbox as you please. 1,000 individual whims that line the urban streets. There's no great past that anchors. There's no pre-modern urge, so I can simply sell you K-pop Demon Hunters merch. I love a hollow culture. No tradition to be found outside of Vegemite or Weet-Bix or getting brunch in town. Don't think about the past, just like what you are told. Don't ask who we could be now, you'll never break this mold. I love a sunburned country, but God, I loathe the seeds. We decimated ancient rites, now we do as we please.
Thank you. Alright, so this is what we see in our current urban landscape. We see, this push for advertisement, commercialization, and just, a push for efficiency and economy in the streets. Next slide, please. What we would like to see is a push for the native and bringing our native, identity into our urban environments and reconciling the two. We want our streets to be usable places. We want them to be places where you can sit down, where you can have lunch, where you can meet people, where you can just walk through and have a good time.
Not just sort of conduits.
Not conduits to another place, to another sushi hub.
Places in themselves.
We want these, winding paths, to come through the streets and, straight from your tower in your office onto the native environment, I guess.
So
would you mind just speaking up just a little bit more?
Sorry, we can do that. So the intervention itself, these sort of organic riffs form through the city of Adelaide. The first slide is set on Hindley Street, although I'm sure from the collage many of you will sort of recognise that sort of appearance of a mismatched cityscape like that. And we imagine just this sort of the urban crust falling away and realising this sort of truly native landscape underneath. Not like, a green lawn of grass with some gum trees, but genuinely native, like scrubby kind of stuff. And we made, the artwork itself is the full poem of My Country, not the tainted version that I recounted, but the original one, which is about, the true beauty and uniqueness of Australia itself, that there is something really special about it, and that we think it's kind of a shame that Australian culture, in a lot of senses, is simply just Western culture. And Western culture is something that's so fragmented. We were worried about, picking an artwork and saying, hey, everyone come to this, work of architecture and look at this and look at this artifact and it's going to change your life, because that's kind of what social media already is.
We want to integrate it into daily life.
Yeah.
Is, I guess, the goal of this proposal.
Exactly.
And let it serve as a foundation for our society.
Yeah, we're kind of asking for say, hey guys, I know we're kind of all shooting off in a million directions doing our thing. What if you would just kind of take a step back, recognize that we can be something special. Our country is special. We have such unique circumstances. We can sort of pause this kind of fragmenting of who we are and see if we can find a sort of collective identity.
And previous slide, please. I think we can do better than this.
Yeah, this is sort of the mismatch of, and it's kind of normalized and people don't really see the issues. But then I think in ourselves, how we expected to pause and gather and feel when, we're so divided in a million ways by social media. We kind of chose this because we feel it's kind of analogous. This is the architecture we live within, and this is kind of the world that we're within. We're used to, this kind of thing, but we have no greater kind of myth to all band together for and head in the direction of. And we imagine a world where suddenly it's integrated within us, it's forcibly thrown within us, it's disrupted our modern life, and we're confronted with no, this is a special place. We owe it to the country of Australia herself to find our own unique identity. And so sort of in our intervention, we sort of see the architecture transmorph into this very a new vernacular, maybe kind of Troppo inspired.
Just integrating the native to create place materials within our urban environment.
Yeah, materials that really are asked of by the landscape rather than, a bunch of different stuff. And and so the artwork is just kind of a plaque somewhere in this sort of strange park that's appeared within the city, breaking up the neat grid lines, because it's not something you go see. It's not something everyone should crowd around and take. If there's sort of just an artwork, it's going to get Mona Lisa-ified on social media. You go up to it, you take a selfie. No one cares about the artwork itself. And so we're really cautious about doing something like that, which is just come look at this thing. So the plaque, the poem, which is about the unique beauty of Australia itself, it's something just in there. You stumble upon, you walk through, the true, authentic country itself, and kind of slow down from this urban speed, and let the landscape be one in a way.
Thank you very much.
Hey, lovely work. I can see. It was. Seems like you've had a lot of fun with this, and you've really embraced the sort of the poetic storytelling and the making. It was really enjoyable to watch. So thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Did you write that poem? I mean, I know that the original line you didn't, but did you edit that version yourself?
Yeah, everything after the wide brown land for me was I wrote myself. Yeah.
That was awesome. Very cool. Very inventive presentation. Loved it. And so, can you talk about how you arrived together at wanting to use that poem as the catalyst for your project? Was it a difficult decision, or did you know immediately?
Yeah, I think we actually were stuck for a while on exactly what to do, because again, we kind of didn't want it to have to. We kind of started ideology first, and we saw.
I think it was. We started with an idea, and it ended up bigger than an artwork, because what we really wanted to communicate was an idea.
Yeah.
But that is supported in art and expression already. So it's just finding, I guess, something that was really special that could communicate. What we're trying to communicate.
That's 7 minutes, guys.
Cool. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Next, we have Taz, The End of Pursuit, and the team name, It Takes Two.
Shall I start? So Reuben in Penang, Malaysia is a building that has been repeatedly.
Oh, it's a bit hard to hear you guys.
like that, a little bit louder. The ruin is a building that has been repeatedly looted.
Is there a way to bring the microphone closer, or?
It's actually on the ceiling. The speaker is on the ceiling. Just give us a sec, sorry.
Try again.
The ruin is a building that has been repeatedly.
That's better.
Yeah?
Yep.
The ruin is a building that has been repeatedly rewritten. Across more than a century, there has been a private mansion, a place associated with travel, occupation, a school, and finally a ruin. Each period of time of the generation brought a different expectation, asking the building to become something else again and again. What remains today is therefore not one history, but many histories occupying the same structure. What this layered condition led me to a film by Hayao Miyazaki, The Boy and the Heron. The film is often described as one of Miyazaki's most personal and semi-autobiographical works. It does not represent his life through a direct retelling. Instead, memories of wartime childhood, his relationship with his mother, the loss of people close to him, and questions of creative legacy are transformed into characters and fragmented events. When we first watched The Boy and the Heron, the film felt confusing because it seemed to contain too much rather than too little, and many events seemed disconnected. Yet the film was also full of foreshadowing symbols and fragments of information. It felt as though every scene was carrying part of a much larger story that we're not yet able to comprehend. It does not unfold as a clear biography with a beginning, middle, and conclusion. Miyazaki's life appears through fragments that do not explain his life completely. Together, they allow the audience to sense its emotional weight. This becomes important to our proposal because the ruin also cannot be understood through one image or one historical period. The initial presentation of wealth, following by unrealized hotel ambition, then the school and the present ruin are not separate stories. They are fragments of one longer life, like Miyazaki's film. The building's history is complex and sometimes contradictory. The architecture intervention translates this form of storytelling into space. Next slide, please. The visitor approaches from the busy surrounding city and crosses the threshold into the slower time of the ruin. The threshold is not simply an entrance. It is the moment when ordinary movement is interrupted and the visitor begins to look differently. Beyond it, a sequence of frames creates a physical timeline. Each frame operates like a cinematic shot. It does not reveal the whole building, meaning it cannot contain within a single frame, but develops through a movement between them. The first condition addresses the past. Historical traces are reflected into the present view, like memories within the film. The past can be revisited through fragments, but it cannot be entered or reconstructed completely. The next frame addresses the present. It asks the visitor to encounter what is physically there now. Framing narrows the field of vision, while also deepens attention. And it asks the visitor to study one view long enough for overlooked conditions to become visible. The final frame addresses the future. It remains empty. The future frame is physically present, but its image has not been yet decided. Weather, nature, time, and the small unnoticed forms of life like little birds and stray cats that are already living in there will determine the ruin's future. The mirrored beginning and ending place the visitor inside the chronology. Past and future are not viewed from outside. They're reflected through the visitor's position in the present. This is also where the project responds to pause, gather, and feel.
Our definition of pause is both a perceptual and ethical act, which not only deepen attention toward the overlooked part of the ruin, but also to step aside the repeated pursuit of completion. Together is to form a civil place where former student, neighborhood residents, and visitors can exchange memories and witness the ruin together without occupying it with another fixed program. To feel is to experience history, not only through dates and information, but through the environmental conditions that continue to act upon the building. The rain revealed the missing roof. The smell of moss revealed moistures. The trees reveal the passage of time, and all these conditions are part of the building's present narrative. Miyazaki does not use the film to provide a perfect explanation of his life. He assembles fragments of experience and allows the audience to form meaning between them. Similarly, this project does not attempt to explain or complete the ruin. It frames fragments of its life so that visitors can recognize its complexities, and thus accept what has passed and become attentive to what's continued. The journey ends as the film does with a return to realities. The building remains incomplete, and its futures will remain unknown. Perhaps that is not a failure requiring corrections, maybe even leading to a question of, what if architecture stopped trying to rewrite the next chapter of ruin? What story might the ruin be allowed to tell on its own? That's all.
Thank you.
I like that there is like a dialogue between like the design that you're contributing and then like almost an undesigned kind of quality as well. That's very organic. I think that's interesting. Yeah, how did you guys find making the images? Did you do those by hand or did you, yeah, tell me about how you made them.
They're all fully hand-drawn, and some are digitally hand-drawn, so it's like a mix. Yeah.
Beautiful. And it looked like there was like some ink or something as well.
Yeah.
Some painting. Very cool.
It's to convey like the organic kind of shape that we're looking for, an expressive kind of shape that we're looking for. Yeah.
Very cool.
How did you go about selecting the boy and the heron as the sort of inspiration? Yeah, tell me a bit more about it.
It was actually the first art piece that we thought of together because I think to relate both the ruin and the movie together, both of them are imperfect. And it was also the first and the last probably movie that both of us have ever watched that made us really confused, and we were in shock and in awe. And that's how we kind of looked into it, and we thought that the imperfection matches really well to the ruin itself.
Was there a relation between the style that you picked for the drawings, like the images, and then the way that the animated, like the film is done? Was there like a correlation between that?
Not necessarily. It's only the philosophical structure of the movie that we've taken out. Yeah.
That's 7 minutes anyway, so.
Right, thank you.
That's well done.
Thank you.
Northern Territory, Deliberation Park, and the team name Rocky Road. Are you here?
Yeah. Hello. Hello.
Hi.
Do you want to start? Mm-hmm. So, hi, my name's Rose. I'm Ashley. And I'm Georgia. And yeah, we're Rocky Road, we're from Darwin, and our title of our project is called Deliberation. It's Larrakia language for guiding light. We're located on Larrakia land, and this is why we chose this name. So our chosen catalyst is Vincent van Gogh's Starry Night, which remains a creative stimulus through its ability to captivate the viewer in a static but expressive interpretation of the night sky. Selected for its expressionism of the landscape, the viewer gets bodily immersed into the painting where the rhythmic swirls, vivid colors, and fluidity of the brush strokes encourage reflection and connection, which become the foundation of our project. Also, the proposal for our park responds to society's growing dependence on digital technology and the need for reconnection with the landscape. So the labyrinth of winding walkways disrupt the normality of conventional parks, thus slowing down movement and inviting people for observation and efficiency for discovering the site.
Can we go to the next slide, please? Thank you. So we were exploring the desire for physicality in an increasingly digital age and the continuing insistence on disconnection. So our park Deliberation is the perfect vessel as it is a celebration of inefficiency and the rejection of speed and optimization. So we encourage lingering and meandering rather than the most optimized path. So if you'll see in the center, we have like a central amphitheater. That's going to be it's going to be used for a nondescript public usage, where you can use the space as you wish, and kind of like mold it to your needed purpose. Yeah. I crocheted our site plan for that one. If you look to the right, I made like a 20 by 20 tile of like what our park would look like. And so that kind of like shares the sentiment with that crochet can't be automated in any capacity. And how we like experience meaning and appreciation and its inverse relationship to convenience. So the more inconvenient something is, the more we kind of value it. Because of we like attribute so something like crochet, it's incredibly meticulous and tedious, and it's probably the most one of the most inconvenient possible mediums we could have chosen. It's a connection of like knots basically, and so it shares a lot of the sentiment from Starry Night. It kind of there's the tangibility and the texture. It's kind of related to the brushstrokes from Vincent van Gogh. And if we look back at like the celebration of inefficiency and how we derive value from inefficiency, there's like a shared humanity. It's something that can't be machinely created or automated or anything. And so when we're like kind of faced with the tyranny of efficiency, kind of like the humanist pursuit of crafts and stuff is like a silent act of resistance that allows us to engage with our environments with intent, purpose, and fulfillment.
So Miley Point was our site that we chose. It was a contested spot that remained undeveloped and the demolition of the former Darwin Hospital in the late 1990s. Originally, the site housed the Culleen compound, an institution that segregated First Nations people and contributed to the stolen generation. Eventually, a commemorative museum space was proposed for the site but rejected, following public outcry over the cost and funding priorities. Miley is an ideal site proposition situated within a residential precinct located near Cullen Bay Marina, which provides idyllic backdrop and close vicinity to both town and very popular eating spots.
We chose Starry Night because the town is only second to the sky. The emphasis is on the landscape rather than the built environment. So our park focuses more on the landscape than actually what is actually built there. A Starry Night, it's an idealization of reality. We want our spaces to be better than they are. And we kind of like look towards the future and how we can like improve our spaces. And so we also took a lot of like the swirls and stuff. So we allowed for like cyclical circumnavigation through the space. It kind of like disrupts the monotony and like the normalcy of everyday life. Do you guys have anything to add? No, I think that was us. Thank you. Thank you.
I think we were all totally blown away when we saw the crochet. Was not something we expected to see in a presentation, but I think that sort of craft and sort of bringing those other aspects of your passion into the way you design, there's sort of like a real authenticity to that, which we're really connected with. And I think our minds can just wander and sort of imagine the possibilities when we saw that sort of has so much dimension to it, and kind of like the artwork. I suppose we really enjoyed seeing that. And probably the only comment I'd say is I wish it had been a whole page because I wanted to see more of it.
I'll just echo that. We were delighted to see the crochet, and I think very creative medium to choose for your site plan. And I really hadn't even thought about it the way you described it until just then, about like the kind of active resistance against AI, it being such a kind of monotonous and mundane task. So that was really beautiful positioning on that choice as well. And I think it's really cool.
Yeah, it's such an interesting and such a fun project. And yeah, I agree as well. I just really wish the crochet was kind of across the page and maybe like collaged with people and stuff like that. So you can kind of imagine the space a little more because I think it's really fun. I just wonder like with the interpretation of how you chose the catalyst and the site because you're not placing the artwork within the actual site, but it's more of like you experience it through wandering the site. Is that how you've kind of positioned it?
Yes, definitely. We took a look more of the sentiment rather than like the physical, tangible aspects. I definitely like the swirling comes through, but more so, yeah, kind of how like Starry Night. It's an idealization of what was actually there. He didn't paint realism. He painted what he kind of wanted to see, I guess. And yeah, I think that's kind of what we took away.
Yeah, nice. And you can really kind of see the relation between the artwork and the design as well. So I think it's very cool. Well done.
Oh, that's 7 minutes as well.
Very cool.
Great. Thank you. Next, we have the Vic chapter,
Hi.
Refugium.
Can you hear us?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'm Rowan.
I'm Ruth. And I'm Wendy.
Okay. We're here from Victoria. There is a disaster in Port Melbourne. Cargo shipping routes and rapid urbanization of the coastline have scarred the environment. Foghorns overpower the subtlety of the ocean lapping at the shore. Ship anchors turn waters murky with sediment as they rip through the sea floor. Port Melbourne is home to a number of important species of flora and fauna, 312 of which are currently threatened. CSIRO has determined ecologically dangerous levels of nitrogenous fertilizer and sewage within the bay. The bay is dying. The refugium stands as a memorial. It appears bright but floats solemnly, a vessel gently swaying near Prince's Pier. It overpowers the horizon line of cargo ships and cranes. Drawing precedence from the neighboring buoys, painted yellow, it is a cautionary indicator. Something very bad is happening.
This site was chosen as all of us had a connection to the area and the ocean environment. My father was a commercial fisherman for many years, operating in the Great Ocean Road region around Apollo Bay. He wore a bright yellow jumpsuit, went out during the season early in the morning on a trawler to catch crayfish. Solo, his only connection to land being his onboard radio. When his career there came to an end, he knew he'd missed the piece of being out on water. He now sails around Moreton Bay, Queensland, on his boat, Kirin.
The ocean isn't owned, it is a shared entity beyond borders, weaving the three of us from different countries, dissolving distance into connection. Now as city dwellers in the Melbourne CBD, Prince's Pier is our closest escape to the sea, a standing monument to where our journey first began. Next slide, please. Wayne Debeau in his painting untitled Boat on a Lake depicts a banal, everyday scene. However, through impasto, saturation, and negative space, turns the image into a picturesque serenity on the water. The painting invites us to pause, allowing the ocean's mundanity to transform into a subject of wonder. A visit to our site was a stark contrast to the world evoked in Debeau's painting. In Port Phillip Bay, a monotonous grey sky stretches over the water, and the wind howls as remnants of the old pier stood in decay against the industrialized bay.
Through 3 lenses, we explored and discovered the sites, collecting trash, textures, sand, rocks, and hundreds of sketches and images. In a mixed media collage, we painted, sketched, and hand-rendered our individual views, combining them to form one triptych of our personal encounters. Collected sounds of waves hitting erosion barriers, sea-washed rocks, and the isolation of objects within the vast bay. The bay has been crying, but its voice has been silenced.
The refugium is a relict, a surviving remnant from a pre-colonial age, from when the bay had life and color. Entirely detached from land and only accessible by boat, you drift slowly into the landing. The scale is deeply intimate. Stepping onto the vessel, you are immersed into an intense procession. The life of the ocean surrounds you. Semi-transparent sails sway gently around you, their hues soften, melting into the sea. Wading through a shallow pool of water to reach the central space. Waves lap at the bottom steps. Carved channels let water rush through into the pipes of the sea organ located in the center of the memorial. The pipes collect and amplify the sounds of the ocean, projecting a departed tune.
During development, our acoustics tests explored the interaction between water and manipulated light. amplifying its ephemeral nature to become a defining character of the refugium. We brought the system into the core of the project, utilizing slits in the roofing to enable sunlight to spill through floor cutouts which reveal the sea below. Angled mirrors above project dancing caustic reflections that spill across the wall, exaggerated visuals of an ocean alive.
Taking a step back, sitting on the external terrace, awareness of the surrounding environment floods back. The visitor sits viewing what has been lost in the bay. In serenity, the viewer is on the boat into Bode's Lake, immersed within a vibrant, overlooked environment. It becomes a living extension of Bode's immersive vision, where painterly abundance gives way to care, reciprocity, and stewardship. To interact with the refugium is to be reminded of the value of what has been lost. Only then can the viewer understand the scale and importance and imagine a progressive future for the bay, one which is more culturally colourful than what was handed to them. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well done. Very cool. Love the illustrations, and yeah, we were struck when we first saw it about how much they relate to the piece of art that you chose as well, which is really lovely.
Both in kind of composition and color, and techniques. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really, really cool.
I was curious about, there's like a strip of black and white images across the bottom of one of those pages, and I couldn't quite make out what was happening there.
So this was one of our initial tests we wanted to do was to test and see like experiment with water caustics. So we set up a plastic bath of water and a mirror underneath it. And we were testing to see how we could like angle the mirror, angle the light, and shake the water and project the different caustics along the wall to see how we can bring the like visibility and exaggeration of the visibility of the ocean into our site, into our building with mirrors and so they could project caustics on the pavilion kind of thing. Yeah.
Sounds fun.
Yeah, it's a really lovely collection of different ways of illustrating the ideas. Do you want to talk a bit more about some of the other drawings, how you compiled those? They look like there might be some models too, is that right? Yeah.
So I think one of the first kind of things we started when we visited the site was we tried to collect as many of the materials from the site we could, like, bits of debris, trash, waste, kind of whatever we thought we would maybe need to use later or to inspire us, as well as we took, having, three very different perspectives, we each took sketches of the site and recorded moments, which you can see in the collage on the bottom left, which is, we had like sketches, we had a painting, pastels and watercolors, kind of just our three perspectives of the site, and then combine them into one. And then from there, we kind of developed into our other drawings, which I guess, it was again mostly pastels, mostly watercolor pencils.
Yeah.
But just trying to, and then we did a little model of the thing floating on the waves.
One of the most interesting things we noticed was the erosion barrier that sits. It's an image at the bottom there in the middle, and that was just like these massive concrete tubes. And that was like, we kind of took inspiration of structures that were already on the site near the shoreline for like just to influence our design.
Yeah, and the color as well, like the way you talked about your dad's yellow jacket, and you can see that kind of has played into this choice as well. It's cool. Did I miss what the balloon is? What's the balloon doing?
Oh, there was an image of a boy that we saw that we really liked that had a balloon on it, and so it was just kind of like a remnant of that, like a little beacon, kind of further attracting people to come over.
Because the yellow color is cautionary indicator in like maritime, just all of the yellow buoys are either just to warn that there's something dangerous or maybe it's shallow water. But for us, the cautionary is it's cautioning the monument. It's like, this is something very serious that we need to pay full attention to. We need to pause and gather at it. And
very cool.
Cool. 7 minutes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, wait. Is it? This is NSW, right? Sorry, it says Vic, but I think imprint. This is
WA.
Yeah. Oh, WA.
Yeah.
Imprint. Perfect.
Sorry, guys.
It's okay. Can you guys hear me? Is that okay?
Yeah.
I can hear you.
Awesome. So Imprint was born from the reflection on the narrative of the ship of Theseus, where his ship is gradually replaced over time. This questions which parts of Theseus' ship are still his. So rather than finding the identity in the material itself, this project interprets Theseus's touch through every plank that he shaped and assembled as the connection to its origin. So we abstracted this with the foundation of our response to the brief's question. Well, one of the question was, how might architecture help us remember what it means to be human? And we found that the answer lies in something that cannot be replicated, which is our physical touch and human curiosity. So we decided that imprint is a temporary clay structure. Can we go to the next slide, please? This is a temporary clay structure offered to the community as an open canvas. It invites people to pause, touch, shape, take, and rebuild and create something without judgment.
As we sat down to choose our site, we struggled to tether our building to a specific place. Our thought would be that if it was in many different places around the world, it would create a different form and be touched in a different way. Our building would move around the world and it would be different. So at the start, we decided on 2 sites that were personal to us and had 2 different kind of touch areas, such as one with high human touch, the streets of Lisbon, Portugal, and the other a high environmental touch, Margaret River Beach, Western Australia.
So I'll just take you on a step-by-step experience on the lower half of the panel. So what we encourage, perhaps in the morning, in the afternoon of Sunday, in the weekends, you would approach this sculpture that we have made as a very intrigues you with the curiosity of what it is as a very odd shape. And then as you approach to the entrance, you will see how cold the walls are, and it would ignite your curiosity to touch and see how the sand of Margaret River would start sticking into the walls. And then as you approach inside into the structure, you would see that children and families would start modifying and shaping the clay, maybe start sticking seashells onto it and create a sense of imprint. And perhaps even before you approach this structure, maybe the waves or the waves from Margaret River would already start to modify it by itself. So we're also encouraging the site to shift the structure with the people as well. And over time, the structure would start to break apart and it would start to be engulfed by the sea and be one with the site. Can we go to the next slide, please?
And the structure has now been moved to Lisbon, Portugal. So upon approach to the site, you might notice that the clay is smeared into the ground through the cobblestone, and there's footprints around, maybe clay stuck on your shoes, and tourists gathered around the building. There may be just a simple family late in the afternoon whilst everybody is out for afternoon tea, enjoying the huge piece of sunlight where somebody has stolen a piece of clay from the ceiling, or people have stuck tiles into the walls or made tiles from the clay. And it also might be rebuilt. Maybe people want it to be a square area where they can set up their cafe. And over time, people will start to share what they have experienced within the area, and word will spread about the weird building or structure that they came across. So imprint was never intended as a finished design. It exists as an evolving architecture of touch, where every alteration contributes to a shared story, reminding that people, it's a collective art of making, gathering, and remembering. It's an evolving expression of what means means to remain present and human, just like the ship of Theseus reminds us that everything can't be replicated. It is a design that is prompted to change. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm actually really curious about how you drew all of these images and like put them together.
So we first painted the background, and then all of the clay that you see on your screen we made by hand. So we made all the clay models by hand, with interpretations of what we think it might look like, and then put it together with Photoshop.
Nice. I think it's just, yeah, it's really nice. The layout and the graphics and how you've kind of put it together. I think it's really fun.
Thank you.
Do you want to elaborate a bit more on why you chose the ship of Theseus? Is there like a, I guess, a provocative sort of thought as the artwork?
Well, I looked at the brief when it was being put out, and there was one question that really ignited that thought, which was it went along the lines of how might architecture help us remember what it means to be human. And I really liked the story of ship of Theseus, where it already starts to question the sense of identity when things are becoming replicated constantly. And I think in our world where artificial replication is happening, you start to question that reflection of how can you identify which is yours and which is the things that can be easily replicated. And we thought as a team that your sense of touch, which is the same as Theseus, this is his own decisions to make things with the planks of the wood in his ship. It's your own decision, basically, what makes you human in terms of making anything and the craftsmanship. Whether you make a mistake, whether you make an improvement, it's based on the human decision and human touch that keeps you in the moment, in the presence, which we hope architecture helps us remember for humans to constantly remind us that this is what it is to be human and to be present. So yeah, it was a commendment to the questions that ignited the ship of Theseus as well.
That was beautifully done. Cool. I enjoyed that all the captions were rhyming as well. Like I thought it's like it had there's a lot of creativity that has gone into this. And I wanted to ask, like with the clay conceptually, like where are you imagining the clay will be coming from in each one of these installations? Is it like local to the area, or have you given much thought to like what, like is there something about the clay that's special, or like is it all coming from the same place, or is it like each place would be different?
Yeah, we did decide on local clay just based on environmental impact. We did want to keep it local, especially with Jalaika's it getting absorbed by water. It would be better if it was local clay. But the starting structure, which is on the previous slide, is the same metal or wood structure that is the same over and is brought over different countries. So the starting structure stays the same as a cylinder for each place with the same framing.
Cool.
7 minutes.
Well done.
Thank you.
Awesome. Good job, everyone.
Yeah, that's some really beautiful presentations.
Amazing presentations. Yeah, the presentations were top notch. Well done.
Yeah, we've got a tricky job.
It was all really, really good. Be very hard to pick. But yeah, we'll just go into a breakout room now and be back in 10 minutes.
Cool.
I think our drawers are back. See them back.
Hi, we're back. Sorry, I was muted. Hi everyone. Thank you all so much for your patience. Sorry if we took a little longer. It was a very hard decision to make, but I'd like to invite Keith and Maddie now to announce the winners.
Okay, yes, you made our job very tricky, and we spent a lot of time carefully looking across every one of your entries and the criteria. So, drum roll. We won't leave you hanging anymore, but it was very, very close. And we've decided that the winner is Arirang by Queensland. So congratulations. We were really touched by the clarity of how your idea came together. There's a real simplicity to it and a real elegance in the way it was executed.
Yeah,
so
and beautifully presented. That goes for everyone. We were like totally blown away by all of the thought and energy that you guys put into how you spoke about your projects, and the creativity that you brought to that as well was like really delightful to watch, and it brought so much energy. It brought all of your projects to life in a way we weren't prepared for. So thank you to everyone who did that today. It was really special. And yeah, it looks like, yeah, you guys had a lot of fun and did some really creative drawings and creative thinking. And
maybe we can give a special mention. I think the model, the crochet model was a highlight, and also we particularly enjoyed the refugium presentation. So, but they're all really wonderful, and I think we really enjoyed all those sort of personal kind of creative moments that you brought into your presentation. So, yeah, it was really great to watch.
Well done, everyone.
Well done. And thank you all so much for being here as well, and all of your wonderful presentations. It was really, really great. And I think that's it.
Just wrap up with a huge thank you to our creative directors, Zoe, Maddie, and Keith. You guys have been amazing to work with. And thank you for such an inspirational brief. So
thanks, Kate.
Thank you.
It's been a lot of fun.
Congrats to everyone. You guys did amazing work.
Yeah, and yeah, well done to all of you for being state winners. It's a huge thing in itself. So well done.
Very cool.
All right, we'll see you all next year for SuperStudio 2027. Woo-woo.
Thanks,
right, thanks everyone.
Okay.
Goodbye.
Congratulations.